Hold on. My main issue with this fight is I feel like Devin Haney saw that Regis Prograis looked vulnerable in his last fight against this Danielito Zorilla. I watched that fight, covered that fight where he got a split decision win in what looked like a quarter-filled arena down in New Orleans. And now they're asking us to pay $75 on pay-per-view if you don't have a subscription to the Zone. So basically meaning that if you have the Zone, $27 a month. No, actually it's like $26.42 a month if you're paying month to month. Okay? And then they want you to pay $59.99 on top of that to watch the pay-per-view through the Zone. Now, let me tell you what I do. I don't buy no pay-per-views through the Zone. I don't buy pay-per-views digitally unless it's through ESPN, payperview.com. I believe you can do it, and maybe fight.tv. But I don't like putting my purchases behind a paywall where I can't access it. So every chance I get, I'm going to buy my pay-per-views through my cable Verizon Fios. So with that, I know I always have them, but also what I do is I got my cable box. I'm not going to unhook anything. I got my cable box hooked up to my PC. And while I'm covering the fights, I'm also recording it as well. So when you're buying through like Showtime or like Fox Sports when they had it, once the fight's over, it's over. You can't watch it again. And they give no refunds and you can't rewind. So let me just move on. This is not a $75 fight. This is not, I don't want to say it's not a pay-per-view fight. I don't want to say that. I just feel like it's not our fault, the people, that Eddie Hearns, to get a guy like Devin Haney on the Zone, they give him this, they guaranteed him this large amount of money. I don't know how much he's making. Somebody let me know down below in the comments. But I just don't want to be a bitching complain, but it's just not a pay-per-view fight to me. You know? Especially with the Zone, how they used to be 3-4 years ago. This would have been regular Zone. Now they want $75. I can't stand it. In pay-per-views this year, don't get me wrong, they've been good, but it's been too many of them. We shouldn't be used to appraising having all of these pay-per-views. It's like, oh yeah, for example, burns me up, brings my piss to a boil when people say Showtime had the best year ever. No shit, because all the fights were pay-per-view. Come on, man. And now obviously Showtime's gone. By the way, it's not just Amazon that PBC's going to, by the way. Stay tuned. Devin Haney is stepping up. He's relinquished all of his WBC titles. Me and Big J talked about that. Look on the channel and see the video I've released before this or after this. We talked about the state of the 135-pound division and what's next down there. So let's focus on 140. Devin Haney fighting Regis Prograis. Regis Prograis didn't look good. Regis Prograis, 34 years old, 29-1, with 24 KOs. The biggest fight of his career against Josh Taylor. At that point, he lost. The Cepeda fight, okay, he won that. Ivan Radcatch hand, don't really count him. But quality wins on his career. Now, Julius Ndongo hasn't been shit since. Oh, you want to see what's been going on with him? Look at this shit. He beat Ricky Burns, lost to Terrence Crawford, and it's just been all downhill. All downhill for my man Julius Ndongo. Make of that what you want. Or what you will. Terry Flanagan, you know, long in the tooth at that time. Not old, but, you know, a war-torn career relic. I forgot where I covered this at. Wasn't this in the World Boxing Super Series? The Josh Taylor fight, very good fight. Josh Taylor has since lost to Teofimo Lopez, moving now to 147. Tyrone McKenna, who just retired this past weekend. On the undercard of Mick Conlon versus damn it, I forgot who Mick Conlon for. God damn it. Oh, and I covered that fight. But anyway, memory shit. So moving on. I am picking Devin Haney to box outbox Regis Prograis. But outside of Lomachenko, Devin Haney hasn't seen the type of fighter of a Regis Prograis that actually has some skill and some pop and won't necessarily be too much of the smaller fighter in there. I really wanted that Lomachenko rematch, but he said basically the money didn't add up for the rematch. I think that was a generational fight where we needed a rematch for that. And I think that that's going to come back to haunt Devin Haney later on in the future. Meanwhile, Lomachenko was supposed to be coming back sometime in March or April to fight George Kambosos for likely the vacant IBF title. A fight that nobody asked for or that I don't even care about, like, honestly. But me and Big J, we're going to do our part covering it. I told Big J we're going to try to get him to the fight, so, it is what it is. But the 140-pound division is pretty deep right now, somewhat top-heavy-ish with Ryan Garcia, Teofimo Lopez, Abril Matias, Rolly Romero, who's talking about moving up to 147 pounds. Gary Antoine Russell, Richardson Hitchens, Jack Catterall, Jose Ramirez, Arnold Barboza, now signed with Golden Boy. This top heavy, Liam Paro taking on Montana Love on the undercard. Me and Big J did a preview on that. You have Andy Cruz on undercard, Ebony Bridges. It's a solid card. If I was to rate the card on paper, I'd give it a B, and it's a plus-minus scale. It's not a B plus because it's close to an A. It's not a B minus because that's too close to a C plus. Is it a C plus card? You have two highly competitive fights on paper with Paro versus Love. One of them's got to win spectacularly, to be even in the sniff of the top of the 140-pound guys even wanting to fight him. For example, all those guys that I've mentioned, from Regis Prograis, Rolly Romero, Abril Matias, Teofimo Lopez, Ryan Garcia, even O'Hara Davies, no, not O'Hara Davies, but because he's got that mandatory spot, so he's kind of up there too. They can all make more money fighting each other than to fight a winner of Haney versus, Love versus Paro. So one of them has got to get either a trending fight, knockout of the year, or, a Mayweather-esque, like when Billy Joe Saunders beat David Lemieux, like, yo, this guy's good. But besides that, they're just going to stay where they are. It's the WBO Global on the line for that. Ebony Bridges is returning after a year layoff, fighting Amayo Yoshida, late step in, former world champion. You can expect for Ebony Bridges to bring her thirst trapping to San Francisco. Getting on the scale, showing her ass. They're gonna eat that shit up. Andy Cruz, this is the first fight I'm going to be covering of what's his opponent's name? The Cuban sensation. He's fighting the Giovanni Staffron. I feel like I've seen him fight before. 26-5-1, 19 KOs. Zaire, did I cover this fight? I think I did. Degenerate boxing. I don't think I covered this. But I feel like I've seen Maxie Hughes. I know I had to see him fight before. James Tennyson, that's probably what it is. I may not have covered him, but I've seen him fight before. All right, Andy Cruz, 135-pound contender. It's going to be really interesting to see how fast they're going to be really moving him. But I feel that Devin Haney is the better skilled boxer than Regis Prograis. However, how much of a pressure fighter is Regis Prograis going to play and will Devin Haney be able to keep him off of him? Now, Devin Haney was getting outboxed by Lomachenko. Regis Prograis, he's more of a pressure fighter boxer than an actual technician. I can't call Regis Prograis a technician. Just my personal opinion. I can't call him a technician. But I do feel that he will have some power and some pop on his punches that Devin Haney hasn't seen before. See, Lomachenko was fucking Devin Haney up because he was hitting him with clean shots, counter punches, and surprisingly, shockingly, I was surprised that Lomachenko was able to walk. It was at several points in the fight where Lomachenko was walking down Devin Haney, and Devin Haney's huge. So If I was to predict, I feel this fight's going to go to distance. If I was to predict 7-5 Devin Haney, I feel it's going to be close. It's going to be interesting to see how the fight is looking in the later rounds, but I do feel it's going to be a good fight. You know, unless Regis Prograis just gets really old overnight, like he looked in there against Zarilla, then I expect for it to be a competitive fight. However, Devin Haney has been known to provide some snoozers too, and we all saw. Well, I didn't. I was in some pussy. You know, thank the Lord. I was going to watch the Shakur Stevenson fight. I was going to watch it. I'm sitting there in my girl crib. I'm like, all right, watch the fight. You know, and then I was like, I'm getting a little tired. You know, ate my little shrimp pasta. Things happen. And then I remember waking up the next morning and like looking on social media, and I'm like, all right, I'm great. Watch the Shakur Stevenson fight. And then everybody was talking about how shitty it was, and I'm like, nope, not watching that. Not watching that? No, you're not gonna get me that way. But anyway, I heard it was just nasty. That's saying it was like probably the worst fight of all time. That's what I'm hearing. You know, because people have been asking me, T-Street, where's your Shakur Stevenson video? And I've covered every Shakur Stevenson fight since probably like maybe his second year boxing. For real, first year. For real. I was even supposed to be at his fight versus Mariaga. I think I interviewed him before. Didn't I? I don't think I did. But anyway, the winner, O'Hara Davies is Rolly Romero's mandatory, but Ryan Garcia wants to fight Rolly. O'Hara Davies is saying he's not taking any step-aside money. If Rolly does move up, vacates, O'Hara Davies gets the belt, and maybe we'll see Ryan Garcia versus O'Hara Davies. Sabril Matias is the boogeyman. I guess he's got the boogeyman tag in the division right now. Politically, PBC fighter, still, I'm guessing. Beat up Ergashev, made him quit when he Benavidez, Andrade Card. Who's he going to fight next? Not even sure. Who is the next fight? The Teofimo Lopez. He turned down a fight with Ryan Garcia for $1.5 million. Kind of understand that, but that's a whole different video. Regis Prograis, Haney. Who do they fight next? If they stay with Eddie Hearn, likely it's going to be a pay-per-view fight. Richardson Hitchens? You think that because they're now on the same broadcaster, they will come together to do the winner of Prograis and Haney to do Ryan Garcia? Possibly. I hope they don't wheel Jose Pedraza out there. I don't want to see that for either of them. I can see them doing some bullshit like that. Arnold Barboza is also a Golden Boy on the zone now. Gary Antoine Russell, don't be surprised if he fights Sabril Matias. Jack Catterall, is he with Boxer or is he with Matchroom again? I know he's been flip-flopping around. I think he's now with Matchroom still again, right? So maybe that. But remember, they're trying to do this on pay-per-view. You know, because once a fighter is on pay-per-view, I know Haney wants to stay on pay-per-view. And the only pay-per-view fights realistically would be him and Ryan Garcia. Unless they come together for a Teofimo Lopez fight, but I doubt it. You know, I doubt it. It's going to be interesting to see where they go from there. But by the way, shout out to Devin Haney because Jojo Diaz, boom. George Kambosos twice in Australia. You have to give him props for that, twice in Australia. He was very confident to go over there twice. Then Vasil Lomachenko, now Regis Prograis. You know, you got to give credit what credit's due. You got to give credit. I just feel that that Lomachenko fight, that rematch, like he should have did it. And now he's talking about moving to 147 to fight Keith Thurman. You know, he's looking like a vulture. Big J calls Tim Tszyu the vulture. It's looking like he's picking off carcasses. You know, Regis Prograis didn't look good. Keith Thurman on that layoff looking like kind of weak at 147. You know he's got that jelly belly too, and he's been out the ring. You know, I'm not liking this look, but we'll see how it plays out. Take your time out, like the video, subscribe. I ain't even mentioned Tank Davis, but we don't know what Tank Davis is doing. Heavy rumors is that he's going to fight Isaac Cruz in a rematch, but I don't believe it's Isaac Cruz. I heard some things But, you know, we're just going to wait and see to see what happens with that fight. And it will be on Amazon Prime, but I don't want to see that shit. We will be here during fight. We will be here covering the final press conference on Thursday afterwards. And then we're going to be here, obviously, during fight night covering the card. Me and Big J for the Aussie portion of the fights. And then I'm going to be here for the main event and the post-fight show. Take your time out, like the video, subscribe. I am TstreeT Controversy with Fight View 360.